Hello and welcome to the channel. Thanks for coming to watch my video. This one's a little bit different. This is actually going to be a workout as part of the Zwift Academy 2023. Now I've done these in the past.
Right
I've done
on.
the last two or previous two before this, 2022 and 2021 for the Bike Academy. Now, I've done this knowing that my advanced age, I am now 60 years old, that I wouldn't be getting picked for any kind of pro contract or anything like that. But I've always taken these, or at least the pro length ones, as a challenge to do. So instead of just doing the regular Zwift Academy shorter workouts, I've always done the longer ones, just as a challenge. And this one is a long one. This one is 79 minutes. And I decided to do it because, again, it's a challenge. Now going into this, I did my research as I always do. I try and wait until someone has done the workouts so that I can watch them on YouTube and see how they get through them. There's a YouTube channel, Everything Is Photogenic. Her name is Sarah. She does an excellent job on going through these workouts and giving her opinions and just stepping through how the workouts work. And she's actually done them all 3 years that I've done these workouts. So if you want to see that and see her, I'm going to call it expert analysis on these workouts, I would say I'm going to leave a link to her channel in the description. But getting back to me and my efforts in this particular workout, or any of the Zwift Academy workouts, I've always considered them to be not too difficult to complete for me. But this particular one here, this one got me. This was a hard one. Now, their past workouts have always been right at around about an hour. This extra 20 minutes on these workouts might make the difference between them being really hard and not so hard. But I went into this one and I wasn't in the best of shape going into it. Now, I'm not going to use any of this as an excuse. I'm just going to say how I personally felt going into this workout. Now, I didn't get very good sleep the night before. I actually had this workout scheduled to run at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning because it was a relatively longer workout. I had it set for 9 a.m. But I knew I had to push that to 10 a.m. because of how I felt and just dragging getting myself going this morning for this workout. The night before, I didn't do any Zwift racing or anything like that. As a matter of fact, the only thing that I did the day before was I did a hour-long swim session. But when I got up the morning for this, my whole entire body was pretty much aching. And the reason for that was because of some things that I did during the week and the week before. Most of you don't know this or may not know this, but I'm also a master swimmer. I compete in the 50, 100, and 200 yard breaststroke. I'm a breaststroker, so I use the power in my legs a lot. So when you see me and you see these power readings that I get, there's no accident or there's no cheating behind that power. That's me. That's all me. So going back to my week, and the reason why I was aching so much, I had gone in to do my my first swim meet of the fall season. So it was my first swim meet in about, I'm going to say, maybe 6 months or so. And I hadn't really been practicing much because I've been on the bike so much on Zwift. Just loving being on Zwift. So I haven't been practicing that much my breaststroke. Now I've been swimming, mostly freestyle, but I hadn't been practicing my breaststroke because I was kind of deciding on whether or not I wanted to even do the swim meet, which happened last Sunday, the Sunday before the Saturday that I'm doing this workout. However, the week before that, I finally decided I was going to do the swim meet and really attacked a swim session or a swim practice to get myself set for the breaststroke. And actually, I was doing pretty good until my very last 25-yard all-out effort pass on my breaststroke. And I strained my right groin. And it did not feel good at all. It hurt pretty bad. And so I kind of rested after that. And the following Tuesday, I was feeling a lot better and decided to do some stretching and aggravated again. So that was the Tuesday going right before the swim meet that was supposed to happen on Sunday. But one of the things about me is that I tend to heal very fast. So I took it easy, chilled for a bit, didn't do any more practicing, didn't do any more pushing, and just tried to save my legs for that Sunday swim meet. Well, I got there, I did the swim meet, I won all three of my events, my 50, 100, and 200 breaststroke in my age group. I had 2 third places overall and 1 fifth place overall. So, and I walked away from the swim meet with no injuries. The right groin was fine, and I wasn't in any pain. So, I felt like I was good to go. Well, a couple of days after that, I started feeling really, really sore, just all over body aching, and my clavicle at my hips and at my inner joints felt bruised and sore. And I can understand that because I normally don't get to practice going off the blocks, and I did a lot of block practice going off the blocks at the swim meet and obviously for the swim meet. So that jars a lot when you're pushing off in a sprinter stance off the blocks for swimming. So I attributed that to that, and all my shoulders and my neck, and they were also sore, and I also attributed all that from all-out swimming that I was doing. So I knew why I was sore when I got up on Saturday morning for this event, and I also raced 3 times on Zwift after that. So that also contributed to some hamstring soreness, some quad soreness, and some calf soreness. So overall, I just felt like kind of a mess getting ready for this event. I wanted to push it until Sunday, but decided, just do it and get it over with and see how you do. You can always do it again if you want to do it again. So, setting up for this event, I did some warm-up with the pace partner. I did almost about 15 minutes warm-up, even though I knew that this workout was going to have some warm-up in it. But I wanted to shake off the soreness that was in my legs, that was in my hips, and that was in my just leg area, everything. I just wanted to shake that off. And I pretty much accomplished that with the warm-up with the pace partner. So going into this, I knew there was going to be about 10 minutes before I had to get any real effort on the bike. And I was a little nervous about it a little bit. But I figured, it's only 30 seconds effort. Let's see how that goes. Normally, if I spin high enough, I can get over the top of that gear for that power. and now I have to put a whole lot of effort into that. And again, it's 30 seconds. So I'm going to push this video up to that point just to show those efforts and see how we get through it. Okay, with about 30 seconds to go into that first effort, I noticed that my heart rate was climbing. I wasn't expecting that, but I think it's more in anticipation of this first effort and not knowing what's going to happen. But it was getting up there. It was steadily climbing. But here we go. First effort. Let's get at it. I spit my my cadence up. I tend to spin my cadence up right before I get to that arch. I don't wait until after I get to the arch. If you wait until after you get to the arch, that the ERG mode will kick that power in, and you may have to do more of a dig to get your cadence up to get over the top of that. But I spin about 3 seconds before I get to the arch. That's when I start to spin up. And I don't know if that's cheating or not. I've always done that in my workouts. I find it easier for me to, if I spin up and let the power come down to meet the whatever high wattage that I have to reach, it's easier than being at a low cadence and then have to bring my cadence up to meet that higher power. And if you think about it, you do the same thing when you're riding out on the road. If you're looking ahead and you see the hill coming and you spin your cadence up before you get to the hill, it's going to be better than getting into the hill, feeling that extra tension, and then trying to bring your cadence up to get to a higher cadence where that hill or incline doesn't sting as much. So I look at it as preloading. They're all my sessions or my academy workouts or any of my workouts that I do on Zwift. When I see that there's going to be a higher wattage requirement on a particular segment, I always spin up first, right before that arch, to get my cadence up. And I do that in races also. If I see a hill coming, I'm going to spin my cadence up before I get to that hill. And it kind of takes the sting out of getting in the hill. And you definitely don't want to wait until you're into the hill to try and put on power. People will pull away from you, and then you'll end up getting dropped. So you want to get that power up there. So here's my second go at this 400 watts. And actually, you'll notice that my heart rate looks like it's coming down. And that's because I'm not nervous about it anymore. So that higher heart rate was happening because I was nervous about it. But second time around, no problem. Handle that 30 seconds at 400 watts with no problem at all. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, this workout may not be too bad after all. I know what's to come because I watched Sarah's video. I also did my research and I watched a couple of other people do this 79-minute workout. I watched Zach Neer do this workout, and I was a little surprised on his 30-second effort for his power output for his sprint. That when he did it the first time, he got the 1.2 gigawatt badge. He's never been over 1200 watts in a sprint in all this time that he's been on Zwift. That was surprising to me. But anyway, going back to the workout, he seemed like he got through it without much of an issue at all. So after getting through those first 400 watt efforts, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this might not be too bad. So I was looking through getting through this third one and then getting through that 5-minute block to get to the sprint. I really wanted to see how I was going to do on the sprint. Now I know my legs aren't in the best shape, and my sleep wasn't in the best shape, but I really wanted to see how I would do on a sprint coming off of the efforts that they were throwing at me here. Now I know I've done racing. Racing seems a little different than workouts. Racing, I get to ride wheels. Being a sprinter, I will ride wheels. I won't say I won't ever go up front. There's lots of times where I go up front, or if I roll up front and I'm just on a normal effort, then I will stay up front if you're not pushing me out of a zone 3. I will stay up front. I have no issue with that. But for the most part, being a sprinter, I will ride wheels and save my effort for that final sprint. So going into this, I was like, okay. Even if my heart rate was in the 170s, that's fine. I normally sprint with my heart rate in the 170s. I do sprints with my heart rates in the 180s and have actually done a sprint with my heart rate in the 190s. Started a sprint with it in the 190s. Couldn't push over 1,000 watts. I don't know if I was just tired or what, but I still came close to 1,000 watts and held that power for a decent amount of time. And I have a video showing that, so if you want to look back at one of those videos, you can always check those out. However, I'm getting ready for this first sprint. I was a little nervous, just a tad. Again, just because I know people are going to be evaluating this. That's what made me nervous about it. Not that, if I don't do well, I'm not going to get picked for the academy or in the running for the academy. Again, it's not all about that for me in this. It's just to see how I would do. But in the interest of time, I'm going to advance this video forward up to the end of the 5-minute block and get ready for the sprint. Okay, about 30 seconds to go, and I'm getting y'all set up for my sprint. I'm going to wait until after the arch to start my ramp up. This is how I normally do a sprint. I ramp up first, get my cadence up to around 95, 100. Then I drop a gear, maybe 2, and I stand up and I go. So here I am, passing arch. You see my RPMs going up. Waiting, go. 1,300 watts. And I went through this arch and I see all this confetti and I stopped. What was I thinking? Oh no. I was supposed to go all the way to this arch, and I stopped my sprint at the other arch. Now I think that was just bad timing. We were so far ahead, we made it to that arch before we started our sprint, and it just completely threw me off. I was like, oh no, I screwed that up. And I'm thinking to myself, I should just stop. Just toss this whole workout and then start over again on another day. But that's not me. I'm always going to try and finish what I start. And I decided I wanted to send out my first comment. And I just wanted to say that I stopped at the wrong arch. And as it turned out, I think one of the other guys, there was just 3 of us because we rolled away from the rest of the group. Because obviously I think that what they're doing is they're setting up people with similar power profiles to be grouped together. Because I think there's some group dynamics in these workouts a little bit. But I think the other guy, his name is Cigar? Cigar? DBR? I think he might have did the same thing. And one of the other guy that's riding with us, I think he noticed it also. Because he went zooming by both of us because he stayed on the gas. So I was like, oh well, it is what it is. I got decent power. I was happy with 1340 watts. I was happy with that, considering on how my legs felt and how I felt overall. I know I'm dealing with some fatigue. I have to check on Training Peaks to see where my fatigue level was going into this. I had been working on trying to get that to drop down, but I knew I was still carrying some fatigue. But the second effort was about to come up. There's the note from the other guy saying that, yeah, he think the other guy stopped at the same arch also. But I knew I needed to go further. And we're about 30 seconds from the next start. And I think I've recovered pretty good. I think I was okay to go into the second one. I wasn't sure what kind of watts I was going to be able to push, but I was going to do pretty much the same thing. I was going to wait until after the arch to start my ramp up, and then I wanted to start my sprint with about 20 seconds to go. I think I kind of pulled that off, but we'll see how that works out as we get to this next segment, this next sprint segment. You see me going. Now you're starting to see me ramp up. You see me getting to orange numbers. I'm still seated. And then I hit that 10-second point. And then I shift down. And then I stand up. See my watts go up. 1085. And that's about all I can push out. I hit the wall. I couldn't even finish the whole 30-second effort. I hit the wall. So I know I'm dealing with some fatigue now. And I'm struggling at this point. And I'm like, I need to recover. I need to recover. You might have saw that I actually stopped pedaling for a second or two. And then remember, oh, I need to keep pedaling. I need to keep pedaling. And then I was just trying to get my heart rate down. I was breathing so hard that I was surprised that my heart rate didn't make it into the 190s. I think it's because I started the effort with a relatively low 170 something heart rate, but I was surprised it didn't make it to the 190s because I was gassed after that second effort. So I know I'm dealing with some fatigue. So after this event, I need to check Training Peaks to see what my fatigue level is. I had been working on getting my fitness level to come down, which would have also brought my fatigue level down, which would have made me fresher in races. And I actually was doing good at that. I was doing really good at that until I got into my training efforts for the Master Swim Meet. I was swimming more. So I was in the water more. And I was still racing on Zwift maybe 3 times a week. Trying to contain it to just 2 times a week. But I had a week where the work that I put out shot my fatigue level and my fitness level also back up. So I was coming from the 190s, trying to work my way down. I want to have an off season this year, and I haven't been doing a very good job of that. And I think this academy is starting a little bit earlier than it normally does, and it just so happened to coincide with when I'm trying to rest. So getting into this, and maybe I won't race as much. Maybe get that down to maybe once a week. And as I kind of ramp up my swimming for my breaststroke. But again, it is what it is. It's a little too late to change that now. I just want to get through this workout. I'm looking at how much time I got. Still got almost another 50 minutes to go. And I'm like, oh, this is harder than I was expecting it to be. But at least we had a good block of time before we have to go into those 2 minutes efforts. Now I'm worried about the 2 minute efforts now because of how I feel. But my heart rate's come back down into the 160s. My legs don't feel as bad as they did towards the end of that last sprint. I have somewhat of a game plan on how I want to accomplish those 2 minute segments. I guess they're what are considered breakaway segments, hard segments that you would do for 2 minutes to kind of put a gap on your competition in the race. I'm guessing that's what those are. Normally, I would not do those two kind of crazy sprints in the middle of a race. Those will be at the end of the race. But I think they're just testing us with this stuff. So it is what it is. I'm going to try and get through this workout as best I can. And at this point, I'm just going to speed us up or advance this video up to the point till we get to the 2 minute blocks. Okay, my goal here is to hold about 5.5 watts per kilogram for this 2 minutes. I think I should be able to do that. I've been able to do that in the past in workouts where at least for a minute and a half. And I think I should be able to hold that. That'll keep me in the dark orange. If you look at my timeline graph down on the bottom, it should stay right in the dark orange. But as I started this, I was feeling this in my legs. I'm thinking to myself, there's no way I'm going to be able to hold that. I'm hurting here. I'm starting to slip. You can see my wattage starting to slip. It's dropping below 400 watts. I can't hold what I thought I was going to be able to hold. And this 2 minutes is seeming like it's taking forever. I look up, I see 1 minute to go, and I am struggling. My heart rate's going up, it's creeping higher and higher. Normally my heart rate wouldn't go up as much with this kind of an effort for 5.5 watts, but it's going up. And I'm just dying here. I'm like, how much longer? Try and stay with it, and I'm just losing it. You can see my wattage just coming down. It's sneaking into the low 300s. I hitting 310. I cannot hold it. I'm looking up at the timer and I'm like, it's only like 20 seconds left, and I still can't even hold 300 watts. I'm struggling. I'm losing it. I'm starting to back off. I know I'm not going to make it to the arch. I just can't hold it. Heart rate's almost to 190. And it finally ends. And those two guys just rolled away from me because my legs were gone. I had nothing. Look at my cadence. My cadence is down in the 60s. I never go down in the 60s unless I'm getting ready to stop or something. I was struggling big time here. I knew at this point that this workout was not going to work out for me. I'm just gotta try. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to try and finish it. I wanted to stay up front with those other two guys, but I know that at this point I'm struggling to hold the 170 watts. And it's not so much as I'm struggling to hold the watts, I'm struggling to keep my cadence up. It's that turnover that I need to get myself above the gear that I'm in to hold the wattage that I need to hold. and I'm struggling. I should be pedaling along easily at around 85 RPM, and I was struggling to get it back up there, and I kept falling back down, and then I would struggle to get it back up there. So my heart rate's starting to come down. I'm starting to get back into somewhat of a rhythm to get myself back into the 80 RPM range so that I can hold this wattage. But I know at this point this was a somewhat of a lost cause on this workout as far as me doing what I would consider well on it. I'm going to make sure that I get all stars for this workout, which means I still have to put in the effort. But I'm I'm at this point I knew I needed to just watch those two guys go because they were going to be able to hold the wattages that they needed to hold for the rest of the workout, and that I wasn't. I was worried about this next block of 2 minutes, so I'm just going to skip us up to that point so that you can see how I did on it. Here we go. Trying to bring up my cadence. Trying to get to 400 watts. Don't think I'm going to get to 400 watts. Think I need to just settle in here somewhere around the mid 300 watt range. That'll get me at about 5 watts per kilogram. And I'm struggling to hold already. I'm feeling it. I think it's mostly in my hips. It just don't feel like I can maintain the cadence I want to maintain. I want to be at around 95 RPM, and I just don't feel like it can hold that, which is odd. I should be able to easily hold 95, and I just can't. So maybe I'm just going to reassess my goal here and try and hold 90. And even at 90, my watts are just coming down, down, down. So I just want to try and get through this at a decent average. Currently, I have my FTP set at 310. So if I could stay over 310, I'll be happy with that. Actually, at the beginning of this workout, I made a couple of changes in my settings. I increased my weight. My weight has actually been going up over the past month. So I increased my weight to what it actually is, which is around 69.5 kilograms or about 153 pounds. And I actually dropped my FTP for this workout down to 310. It was at 336, but that got jumped up to 336, 337 when I was really fresh about a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, when I hadn't been racing much and I had been getting better sleep, and my fatigue level had come down to around I'm going to say around the 60 mark, where it had been really high. I think I went over 110, maybe a little higher than that, as far as my max fatigue level this year, which was very high for me. But in my effort to raise my fitness level up into the 90s, of course, along with that, it's going to come a lot of fatigue. So I had been doing really well bringing that down, except for the last couple of weeks. It had been going back up, and it looks like my fatigue has gone up along with that. So I didn't do as well as I wanted to do on these two-minute segments. I wanted to keep those solidly in the dark orange, and I wasn't able to do that. So I am going to give this workout another try at a later date. I'm going to progress on next week with workout number 2 for the academy. But I will give this one another try and see if I do better. But as it stands, it's not going all that well. So I'm going to skip us up to this 20-minute segment, or at least the start of this 20-minute segment, to see how I do in it. Okay, so we are about to hit the 20-minute segment. I have to hold 265 watts for 20 minutes. And I can tell you already, I am not feeling well on this. My hips are still kind of throbbing here. And I don't even know if I can hold 265 watts. I'm trying to get my cadence up, trying to get it up around 90. I know I'm going to at least need 90 on this segment to hold this wattage. And I'm struggling already. As you can see, my power is dropping. I'm struggling to hold it. I need to drop the bias on this. If you're looking over on the left-hand side at the workout chart, you can see that percentage has gone down from 100 down to 77%. I've had to drop my bias down to 77%, which makes it a little easier to maintain this wattage. I couldn't hold 265 watts. I had to bring it down to 205 watts just because I was thinking there was no way that I was going to get through that 20-minute segment at 265 watts. I couldn't keep my cadence up high enough to maintain that power. So I had to drop my wattage. I'm feeling kind of defeated now, but all I'm doing is staring at that timer to see how much time I got left in this segment. I am not going to quit. I am going to finish this workout, but I couldn't hold the power. I had to bring it down. I'm hurting too much. As you can see, my heart rate's only at 162 beats. That's not high at all. That's relatively low. And I could not hold 265 watts. Feel pathetic. But it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do to get through these things. I could always just quit. I'm not going to do that. I don't feel like I'm cheating. I don't feel like I'm cheating at all. I'm just trying to get through the workout. I mean, if they decide they want to analyze this particular workout, go right ahead. You'll see. They will be able to see that I dropped the bias on this 20-minute segment. They will be able to see all of what I'm doing in this particular workout. And if I do it again, or when I do it again, hopefully it'll be much better, and that will be the one that they decide to analyze, not this one here. And like I said, I highly doubt I'll get picked. They probably put a big filter on all of these workouts and say, okay, we're looking for our age groups between 18 and 23. Everybody else, we don't want to see them at all. That's probably the case, but it is what it is. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to speed this up to get through this 20-minute segment. There's no point in me showing you me struggling for the next 16 minutes. I might as well just advance the video towards the end just to finish it off so that you can see what my final timeline graph looks like. Okay, about 20 seconds to go in this workout, and as you can see, I got through the 20-minute block at around about 205 watts. and I'm finishing up the cool down now. Getting ready to end this difficult workout. And boom, there's my timeline graph. Um, Looks good. 1343 max on the power on that first sprint. And that was at about 19 and a half watts per kilogram. Yeah, a lot of people have issues with my watts per kilogram. But it is what it is. And I don't hide from that. And with me raising my weight up, it didn't go over 20. A lot of people, when they used to see that 20, would assume that it wasn't real. But yes, I can do over 20 watts per kilogram. And with that being said, it's been, I can't say it's been fun. It is what it is. And if you look at the Zwift Power results, you can see that I had the highest 15-second watts per kilogram at 14 watts per kg, and the highest 30-second. And you may notice that I had the highest heart rate for this workout. That means that everybody else was having a much easier time with it than I was. So I was off today. And now that we switch back over to my exiting stats here, 13:15 for 15 seconds. And we'll switch over and look at the chart again. And take a quick picture of that. Get my heart rate maxed out at 188. Switch over to the critical power. And we could see that, I was off my best times throughout this whole workout. So I'll give it another shot. Until then, I'll sign off and say, see ya.